Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tea Time. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Isa. And in this episode, we decided to talk to a few people to see what they thought their future holds. Our first interview was Anthony. Anthony has a lot of passion, so we wanted to see what he thought his future was going to look like.
Where do you see yourself in the future?
There's a lot I want to do with my life. I have a lot of different passions, so I'm not particularly sure where I'm going to be, but I enjoy doing a lot. I like writing music. I like engineering. I like video games. I like coding. I like doing a lot. So, I'm not necessarily sure, but I definitely want to do something where I can make something that makes people happy.
You said you like to write music?
I do.
How long have you been doing that for?
I haven't been taking it seriously until middle school, really. So it hasn't been that long. I don't particularly share my work, though.
You were writing a lot in 8th grade, though, right?
8th grade, yeah. A lot of poetry, too, now, especially.
Poetry?
Yeah, a lot of poem.
Would you want to pursue that as a career?
I don't know if I'm good enough at poetry or writing in general to do it every day, because that's a really risky career. And I don't want to do something that's like, oh, if I make something bad, my life is, over. I don't know. I kind of want to have a safe career.
A safe career like what?
Something where I can't really mess up horribly. I have to be confident in what I'm going to do. And right now I have so many different abilities that I'm not particularly incredible at one of them. I'm just okay at all of them. So I'm trying to find which one really suits me most so that I can pursue that one and not screw up.
Would you prefer a stable job, like a 9 to 5 that you know you're going to get money in, or a job that you can work around with your passions and build upon that?
I definitely want to have a job that makes me happy. Even if I'm not getting a whole lot of money, as long as I can live and settle down somewhere and be happy. And I definitely want to get along with coworkers. I want a very team-oriented job as well. I don't want to do something alone. Something like that.
You said in general, you were asking about career in general. How about in general? Where do you see yourself in the future?
Oh, shoot. That's difficult. I don't particularly know.
What about family-wise?
I'm hoping that I can find someone and settle down somewhere. But honestly, I don't want to think about that too much because then I feel lonely.
Mood. If it came down to it, would you still live in Miami or would you move?
It depends, because this is something that we've been talking about for a while also, even now. And we were going to move, but then we didn't for a reason that I'm not going to talk about on podcast. I'm not sure if anymore I want to leave on my own, because I was really sure that I do, but now I don't know. I think I might, but I'm still debating. It definitely all comes down to what kind of opportunities I can find in other places as well, because there is a lot you can do here, but not a lot that calls out to me.
Didn't you really want to move out to Colorado for a while?
I did for quite a long time. And it was because I really loved just the environment and the people. It was such a different atmosphere in general. Everyone's super nice and there's so much to do because I love hiking. I love forests and stuff. I love animals. And I'm super into bushcraft, but I have nowhere to do bushcraft in because we're literally in the middle of a city. So I have all this useless knowledge, and it would be great to, at some point in my life, at any point in my life, I just want to go into the woods for either a few weeks or just a month and just hang out there. I really want to do that, and I can't do that here. I don't know if I would live somewhere else forever because everyone is here. My family's here, and that's hard.
I kind of get that. When you were younger, did you have, when someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your go-to answer?
Well, but when I was a kid, I was really into science and I wanted to build things. So it hasn't really changed much. It's just, I said I wanted to be a scientist when I was, but I didn't know what an engineer was or any of that kind of stuff when I was a kid. So I was like, oh yes, I'm going to make a big epic space laser. But that's not as realistic. But I was totally one of those oh, Jurassic Park is the coolest thing ever. I'm going to revive the dinosaurs when I grow up kind of kid.
Did anyone put that influence on you, or did you just kind of come up with that yourself?
I watched a lot of nerdy movies and I just thought they were the coolest things ever. I guess I wanted to make that a reality as a kid. I was totally living in my imagination all the time. I was a happy kid.
Did you have anybody to influence that spark for movies and for sci-fi, or was that something that was all you?
My parents were really young when they had me, probably too young. And so my dad was still really into video games. And so I would watch him play those kind of games at a super young age. And then I want to say I was 4 or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 when I picked up my first game. And it was Lego Batman. I'll never forget. But I guess after that, it kind of went down a whole spiral of, I'm going to play more games. And then the game's just oh, this movie kind of reminds me of this game. And it just all kept on building up from there. So my dad was probably the one who got me into all the nerdy stuff.
You say that you like a lot of nerdy stuff, like video games and
oh yeah,
stuff like that. Would you ever consider pursuing a career that had to do with stuff like that?
Like video game design or
yeah,
computer programming?
I have a lot of love for video games. Video game design is really painful because I've tried before, and it's like it's a really long process, and it sucks. And I honestly, my project didn't get past 3 days. I couldn't stand it, and so I don't think I would do that every day unless someone really amazing taught me how to do it, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give this another shot. This is a passion now. I know what I'm doing this time. So maybe if I learned it a little bit better, I could pursue that. But I don't know if I really want to.
Hobby are you most prominent in your life right now?
Well, for a while, I was playing a lot of music, but I don't like it when my family hears me. So I normally only play when I'm home alone. So that was a little rough. And recently I got back into live streaming on Twitch, and I forgot how much I missed that. So over the past few weeks, I've just been live streaming, and that's been really entertaining, and that's really been keeping me up because I love having an audience. It's really fun to get to talk to my chat, my audience, and do my favorite thing, playing video games, and just hang out with a whole bunch of people.
Have you ever considered like streaming or YouTube as a career?
I have, and I try, but I feel like I'm not sure if I could do it long term because that is really stressful. And the thing with YouTube and Twitch streaming in general is after you do it for a while, you start to get this mindset where like, yeah, you know, I'm in a good spot, but I could do better. And then that becomes, I have to do better to keep up, to stay alive. And I don't want to be in a position where Twitch or YouTube becomes my everyday only thought. I want to have time for other things.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was the one that interrupted. But I was gonna say you want it to be more like a hobby instead of a career.
Yeah, probably.
Later in life, do you see yourself with like a big family with like a bunch of kids, or just a small family?
That's not my decision. That's never been my decision. That's not my choice.
Okay, but ideally,
I don't know, because I feel like I could handle a huge loud house style family, but like I don't think I want to. Again, it's not my choice. I would honestly like 2 is good, but that's like it's still not my choice.
Would you want kids when you're older? Or
Yeah, definitely.
would you teach those kids like the passions you have right now or your current passion that you end up like pursuing? Like would you show them what it is?
That's something I think about, and I don't really know if I want to, because I know I enjoy these things, and as a little young impressionable kid, it's super easy to get them to enjoy it too. And then you start to get things that you can do together, like you have in common. I also kind of am a little interested in, because it all depends on, you know, my spouse, what they're into as well. And I don't want to just put all of my things into my child. I want to have someone with different interests so that I can learn. And I don't want to have a kid that's just mini me.
I've never heard someone say that before, so I was like, huh.
would you say you're a person who's very family oriented? And if so, would that affect your decision as a career later in life?
I care a lot about my family, but lately I've been trying to care a lot for other people too. Because outside of my family, it kind of sucks going to school. Well, obviously we're not going to school anymore, but I remember going to school and seeing people like not even sitting at cafeteria tables. And that always kind of pained me a little bit because, you know, coming into a new school, I knew what that was like. And so I've really been trying to pick up those people. And I care a lot about my family, but I have a lot of love for other people as well. And so I feel like that is probably the most important factor in my career is I want to make people happy. Down the line, that's what I want to do. But I'm still trying to find careers that can do that.
Have you ever considered psychology?
I have, but it's different when you're making a person happy in comparison to making people happy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that. What you're basically saying, at least how I interpreted it, is that you want to make widespread amounts of people happy like at once.
Definitely.
In a way. Is that why you enjoy streaming so much? Because you
That
reach
is why I
such a
enjoy
wide
streaming.
audience?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a person that when you set a goal, do you persevere until you get the goal done, or do you kind of take it in steps and take it slow?
It definitely depends on the goal because, like I said, I have a lot of passions. So I tend to set a lot of smaller goals towards all of them. So I'm slowly pacing myself. Like I definitely go through phases of, okay, you know, I'm going to focus on getting really good at Squirtle today. And then after this, I'm going to just get to 50 subs on Twitch. And then I'm going to make an incredible drawing today. I'm going to get better at my line art, stuff like that. I don't know if I have one long-term goal for any of my hobbies as of right now. I'm definitely just taking little steps.
You said that you said like line art and stuff like that. Do you draw?
I draw. I'm not super confident in my art, especially since my drawing tablet is like garbage and my stabilizer doesn't even work. So it's painful.
Would you ever consider doing something with that?
For a while I did. I was really into animation, but then I was like, this is hard. And I don't know if I have the patience for this kind of stuff. Cause I really enjoy doing it, but having to go frame by frame and going into like a lot of detail with my characters, because normally I have really derpy characters, but lately I've been trying to up that because I don't want to just have like, yeah, I love making cartoons because I draw cartoons. I don't really go for realism or any of that stuff, but I don't want them to look like babies either because everything I draw just ends up like super short and chubby, and that annoyed me. So I'm going for not a more realistic approach, but definitely a more varied approach.
Last but not least, we interviewed Cassandra, who's majoring in psychology. Where do you see yourself in the future?
Well, in the near future, I see myself in school. I plan on getting my doctorate. So I've still got 6 to 8 years left of college. After that, I see myself working with little kids in the behavioral psychology field. So like speech pathology, applied behavior analysis, stuff like that. I guess that's career-wise, yeah.
How about as far as your life? Where do you see yourself, let's say, 10 years?
10 years. So I'll be 30. Hopefully successful. I'd like to have started my family by then, have my own house, starting to get like, I guess, my long-term life together. So be a little bit more stable by that point, be like a fully functioning member of society, adult type of stuff.
Your field was what again? I'm sorry.
Behavioral psychology.
What exactly do you do in that field?
So in psychology, at least, it's a pretty multifaceted field. Each segment of psychology, whether it be behavioral, forensic, legal, they've all got a lot of routes you can take. Behavioral psychology specifically has to do with obviously behavior. So working with kids with learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, speech disabilities, or speech setbacks, or it can be people who have like mental illnesses that alter their behavior or affect their behavior. So just working on modifying or analyzing modifying behavior in general, whether it be people or not people. But in my case, it would be people.
What was it that got you into this field?
Well, I really liked psychology from the beginning. I've ping-ponged a lot. I started off as a biochem major. I immediately switched. I regretted it very quickly. I switched to political science. And then I got really bored. I hated it. I was so bored with my classes and with life. And then when I switched to psych, which is what I had loved ever since I was little, I was super happy. And obviously psych is so diverse that it's hard to find what you wanted to do. But as I started studying and talking with my counselor and looking at my opportunities, I found that I really like behavioral psychology, and I've always liked kids. And I've always been really good with kids. And I thought that that would be the best way for me to keep working with them as a career and to help people, you know, and make difference in people's lives. It's a good field. It's really nice.
Do you think now having a little sister helps with that? Like growing up with Katrina and Catalina?
Yeah, it does. It makes a huge difference because I'm not, at least recently now with Catalina, she's 2 years old, 2.5 years old. It's crazy living with a baby. She's your sister. I'm 20 years old. It's like an out-of-body experience sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of reminded me how much I like working with kids and being with kids in general. It definitely has helped, yeah.
Do you feel that having like siblings and stuff like that kind of shape the way you think now? Instead, like if you didn't have siblings, do you think you would have still gotten into this career?
Well, in general, I've always liked psychology, not because of siblings, but because of my own experiences, you know, just because of what topics really interest me and what I learn best. And theoretical knowledge has always been something that I like a lot. I mean, behavioral psychology, ironically, is probably one of the least theoretical fields. It's actually very factual. There's not a lot of theory in behavior, but I do really like it still. But I think it does play a part, but I would say that I've come to understand that your career is up to you. It's not up to anybody else. And even though having those around you shape, you know, having people around you, yeah, they can shape how you see things, but it really just comes down to what's best for you. And I had to learn the hard way that listening to other people it's not the way to go when it comes to your career.
And you like art too, right?
I used to be super into art.
Did you ever consider art as a career or no?
I did a long time ago. I really wanted to pursue art. I wanted to be an artist for sure. It's not easy. It's hard. And I got to a point where when I was maybe 16, 17, I got really back into art. I had taken a few years where I wasn't really doing anything artistic. And around middle of high school, I started to get back into it a lot. And I was drawing and painting and a lot of digital art. And I did a lot of commissions. I drew things for people. It was constant. I was always painting or doing something. And it got to the point where, because I was getting like traffic, like people asking me to do things for them. And I was happy to do it at first. I got to the point where I was like, it stopped being fun and it started being a job or a chore. And I don't want to say it ruined it for me, because I still enjoy drawing a lot, but it's not the same. It's definitely a little bit more of a chore now. When I realized that, I didn't want ever to pursue it, because I didn't want art to continue being work. I didn't want it to be a chore. If I wanted to draw something, if I felt compelled to draw one day, I wanted to do it without thinking, ugh, like this is work. So no, I mean, some artists have the capacity to draw constantly, and they are another plane of life. They are advanced people, because that's crazy. I couldn't. I can't do it constantly. It's too much. I did, but not anymore.
So would you say that your plans for the future have significantly changed over the years?
They've changed a lot. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be a dermatologist. I wanted to be a United Nations delegate. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a politician. I wanted to be so many things in life, and that will happen to that happens to everybody. You're gonna ping pong constantly. I ping ponged in college. Like, it's a lot. It's crazy. I've changed my mind a lot, but I'm done ping ponging. Hopefully I'm done ping ponging. If not, we're we're not in a good spot, but I think I'm good now. But yeah, I've ping-ponged a lot. I've done a lot of changing in that sense.
When you were younger, did you ever see yourself where you are now?
No. When I was younger, I thought I would, I had a lot of plans for this point in my life. I didn't think I was going to be in Miami still. I didn't think I was going to be at the school I'm at. I didn't think I was going to have certain people in my life. I didn't think I was going to have a little sister. I didn't think I was going to be studying psychology. And this could be, when you say younger, it could mean when I was a little kid. It could also mean when I was a senior in high school, because I didn't think any of this. Maybe the little sister part, no, but that was already incoming. But a lot of these things, no, I wasn't expecting a lot of these things to turn out how they did. And I'm happy they turned out the way they did. I wasn't so happy about it in the beginning, but I am now. Everything happens for a reason, and life is good. Things always turn out the way they should, pretty much. So it definitely wasn't expected, but I'm happy it turned out the way it did.
So you had said that you didn't really picture yourself still being in Miami. Were you planning on moving?
I advise against this, but I applied to 21 colleges when I was in high school. I was a big overachiever. I actually only got rejected from one school. I got rejected from UF. I was planning to go to either New York or California. And I ended up staying because of my little sister, because I didn't want to miss out on, the most important years or the coolest years, when she's a little kid, like learning how to walk, learning how to talk, learning how to feed herself, like little things like that. You don't want to miss those things, especially if it's like your sister. Like, that's so, I've got plenty of school left. I've got grad school, master's, doctorate. So I've got, I'll save California or New York for one of those. But yeah, so I wasn't expecting to be here, but like I said, I'm glad I stayed.
You said you were very sorry to go back to this, but you said you were very artistic when you were in high school. I know Katrina's very artistic too, maybe not in the same way, but she likes to sing and she really likes music. I know she's considered it as a career before. Would you have any advice for her when considering her career and going into college?
You've got to like it, and you've got to love it, and you've got to be able to do it day and night, every day of the week, every week of the month, every week of the year. You've got to be able to really go through it, It can't be something that you're like, I'm tired of this. If you ever feel like that about what you want to pursue, you've got to think it. You got to think about it, because you're going to be stuck with it. And, some people say, oh, you can always change. Yeah, but that's not easy. If you're picking your career, make sure it's something you love. Make sure it's something you love, and make sure it's something that's worth it for you.
So as a little special feature, we decided to interview Sophie's little brother, but for privacy reasons, we decided to leave his name out because he's only 5 years old. Hi, how are you doing?
Good. So what do you want to be when you grow up?
A police officer,
Why?
Because they have motorcycles.
Motorcycle.
What about the motorcycles do you like?
That they go fast, like me.
They go fast?
Like you? What made you want to be a police officer?
Because they have motorcycles.
Yeah, but like, okay, but where did you first find out about police officers?
Because I saw one time
Where?
on the road,
Were they riding a motorcycle or were they in a car?
the car.
Would you prefer a motorcycle or a car?
Only a motorcycle, no car.
No cars? When you become a police officer, you have to say only motorcycles, no cars. So where would the dog go?
So when the bad guys are there, I could say sack 'em.
Sophie, can you restate what he said because it got a little.
He said when the bad guys come, he'll say sick 'em and the dog will attack.
Sack 'em.
Sack 'em.
Sack him? Okay. Okay. What type of police dog do you want?
A bulldog.
A bulldog?
Why do you want a bulldog?
Because they're more grumpy.
So they
my
can
God.
bite the bad guys? Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to be when you're older?
A scientist.
A scientist. Why?
So I could turn my sister into water.
So you turn your sister into water.
What?
Yeah.
No!
Why do you want to make Sophie water?
So I could drink the water.
Okay. What other things do you want to do as a scientist?
A veterinarian.
What's so cool about veterinarians?
They help dogs and like cats.
What's your favorite animal?
A cheetah.
A cheetah.
So out of all of them, out of the vet, the scientist, and the police officer, which one do you want to be the most?
The veterinarian.
And what does a veterinarian do?
Help animals by making sure that they're healthy.
How?
By giving them medicine, giving them shots.
So if you like helping animals so much, have you ever considered helping people, like a doctor?
Yeah.
Would you want to be a doctor?
Yeah, that too.
That too? Okay.
Ethan, are you going to have 8 part-time jobs?
Yes.
What about your unicycle business? How's that going?
I'm gonna sell unicycles for sale.
How much? How expensive are these unicycles?
$1.
$1?
So now that we've gone through all those interviews, where do you see yourself in the future, Isa?
I just want to do something that includes art because art has been a major part of my life and what makes me happy.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Tea Time. I'm Sophie,
And I'm Isa.
signing off.
See you next week. Peace.